What's up, party people? How y'all doing? I am your host, J Locke, and thank y'all for tuning in and listening to Barbershop's Talk, sponsored by the Reset Tour. I am here with an amazing entrepreneur, artist, visionary. I've watched his work. I've been a product of his work almost every other week. He's been my barber for about a month now. Excited to say that he is one of the sponsors of the Reset Tour, the Barber Talk edition. My man, Ice Cuts. What's up, guy?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me. Appreciate you having me.
Oh man, thank you for being a part of it. We're excited to have you on. Let everybody know who you are, what it is that you do, and where you're located.
Bet, man. It's an honor. I'm Ice Cuts under Ice Cuts LLC. I cut at Have I Cut You Yet in Raleigh, and I'm a barber. I've been barbering in Raleigh professionally about 7 years now. So before that, I had a little bit of experience. I've been cutting since I was about a kid, stemming kind of from necessity. When I was younger, maybe in between haircuts, I would line myself up, get myself a haircut, trial and error back then. As time went on, I started getting nice with it. Other people, my friends, would start asking me for haircuts, and they were kind of like the sacrificial lambs. They trust me with their hairlines. I don't know why.
Risky business. Risky.
Man, that's love.
Yeah, absolutely. Where are you originally from? Are you Carolina?
So I'm raised in Carolina, but not born. I was born in New York, in Brooklyn,
Nice.
and I moved here when I was around 10 or 11.
Okay, so you got that Brooklyn hustle in you.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so.
Our focus is mental health. One of the things that I felt like we needed as African American men in the culture is more conversations about mental health as it relates to faces that look like us. We know that before we got into any chair or couch to talk about mental health with a therapist, we had the barber's chair.
Right.
And that mantle that you guys carry has been greater. What have you seen?
Man, I like perspective. Sometimes I am observant in the barbershop. I seen a dude one day, he came from just my, and when he did that, he lowered his shoulders, he let out this sigh, and it was like he passed this threshold of like a sanctuary. And I was like, that's what this is, you know what I mean? And whether I want to admit that I have a role in it or not, I do play a role.
Yes.
And so, I try not to be people's therapist because you don't want a yes man, you know what I mean?
Right.
Everybody has their own problems. I'm not a licensed therapist, but I am an ear.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I learn to just be an ear. I don't always have to always give my opinion, but if my opinion is asked of, you go give my opinion.
Sure.
And so, man, so many walks of life and experiences and perspectives, like you said, that sit in that seat is a powerful seat.
Yeah. Our identity is so based on our appearance. So, you come in and what they say, busted and disgusted, come out looking like got that soul glow, coming to America theme music.
Man,
But
stepping.
yeah, but for a lot of people, that is the only place they can be vulnerable. Unfortunately, he know that in the process of that cut, he can sit there, not even think about the problem. You can talk about sport. You can sit and laugh and have that moment to detox and not even focus on what you're really dealing with. But I think that is the power of the barbershop.
What you just said was completely dead on. That was completely dead on.
Thank you. But tell us your upbringing. Tell me a little bit about your background.
My upbringing, man. So, like I said, I was born in Brooklyn, East Flatbush, and then I have a little bit of Queens also. My mother's from Brooklyn, my father's from Queens, so I would go back and forth. And I got to North Carolina when I was about 10 or 11, in between those ages. But I have roots in Carolina. So my grandmother is from Lewisburg. And so she retired, and I came here with my grandmother, lived with her for a few years before, my mom got her own place. When people ask me, I say I'm from Raleigh. When they ask me a little further, they be like, you're not from Raleigh. I'll be like, well, I was born in Brooklyn. I've always felt like an artist, and I've always felt like an entrepreneur. And so for a while, even before, probably when I was in school and, very low grades, I was drawing, and I was always on YouTube trying to look up some kind of way to hustle. Just always Googling some kind of way. I couldn't wait to work. Like, I really want,
Me too.
it was something about it. I think it might have to go with the independence. Maybe it's the independence of it.
Yeah. So who in your bloodline growing up did you see that were hustlers?
Man, everybody.
Yeah.
It seemed like everybody was getting after. Everybody had their own way of doing it.
Like the whole family?
Yeah, everybody was hustling. Everybody had their own way. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I grew up in an extended house. So my mother always lived with her parents.
Okay.
And so I always had my grandparents in the house.
So you just saw strong work ethic.
I did. I seen a strong work ethic.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, my pops never had a 9 to 5 job, but he was a music producer when I was growing up.
Oh, nice. You're a recording artist.
Yeah.
Is that where you get your love for music?
That's where I get the belief that I can make this happen.
Okay.
You know, I seen him do it, and that's where I'm like, he produced. He wasn't a vocal artist. You know, I use my voice, but it was just made me believe it could make it happen. On the other side, it was more 9 to 5 structural, you know, careers.
Mm-hmm.
They were still hustling, and I still seen them grind. He was still grinding, but you know, there was no 9 to 5. It was just like, so.
You had to build it yourself. You saw a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. That's cool. Who influenced you the most from your childhood?
Man, that's tough. It's between my mouse and my grandfather.
The men.
Yeah, the
in
men.
your family.
Yeah, the men definitely influenced me.
All right,
I want to leave the women out because the women really held it down.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. So that's you growing up. Who is your biggest influence now as an adult?
I'm gonna say my grandfather.
Your grandfather.
Yeah, same grandfather.
Okay. What was it about him that makes him stand out?
It was his dollar and a dream kind of story. You know, my grandfather's from Trinidad.
Okay.
And so he came here with a dollar and a dream, went to New York. That was his first stop, and I guess North Carolina was his last stop. But he lived in New York most of his life, his adult life. And so by the time I got here, he had already done all these things. I got to see him at this certain level. And he was a community man. And even to this day, it's just the things he does is just very interesting. Like whether it's the HOA or something, he just always has his hand in the community, the people that are around him.
Nice.
And that had a long lasting effect.
So you was always around building.
Yeah, even when I didn't even know it.
In building and organizing. How would you explain your music?
Oh man, I think that even has to go into the whole my grandfather being from Trinidad. Because you know, for me, my New York experience isn't like AOB. You know, like you know that may be like some of it,
right?
But a lot of it is that Caribbean influence.
Nice.
So the steel pans and calypso and soca and you know all that music really influenced me when I was young, even when I wasn't realizing it.
Yeah.
And then that same grandfather loved Stevie Wonder and Luther Vandross and all these Marvin Gayes. He loved jazz. And so his son, my uncle, my mother's brother, was also a music producer.
Oh, wow.
So my uncle and my grandfather and my father were music producers.
Wow.
And so he would take my grandfather's vinyls.
Yeah.
A lot of that really influenced me when I was young. You know, like, you know, just the generations, like it allowed me to have a wide range of generations. Like I could listen to anything right now, you know, and still vibe. That did it for me. My mother, I grew up around, she was listening to Bilal and Music Soul Child and Jill Scott and here go Indy Irie.
Yeah.
All of that had a profound effect on me.
Yeah. You know, it's almost like that saying that the midget on a giant's shoulders can see further than the giant. So you have all of this influence of culture from different timelines, and now being in a position to create your own vision from all of that influence paired with your own personal experience.
Yeah, I never heard that one. Yeah, it was like that stepping stool. And that's what I feel like each and every one of us is in a way, like in our art. You know, a lot of it is inspiration. And I notice a lot of people will say that, yo, you took exactly for how it is, I believe.
Right.
But I am Stevie Wonder.
Right.
And I'm not saying specifically these people, but I'm Stevie Wonder. I'm Lil Uzi.
Yeah.
I'm Donnell Jones and I'm, you know, David Ruffin. I'm all these people and I'm bringing it to this time right now.
And that's what culture is. You know what I mean? And pair that with your experience, also your interpretation of the experiences from those who came before you. Now look at how you put that in your different packages. That affects you in how you barber. That affects you in how you communicate. That affects you in how you create music, but just also your business decisions as well. I think culture is one of the most important things that we have. The problem is we haven't owned our own culture in a very long time.
Man. That goes into a lot. That
Yeah.
goes into a lot. I don't even want to. I've been on these Epstein files, y'all. So I know this is about something different, but yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, and so goes back to that chair. I don't think most barbers understand the weight that they carry and the impact that they could have. And, with this being a podcast talking about mental health, that is also another goal, is for us to share that piece to the barbers, not only just the men listening, like, go deal with your trauma, go deal with your childhood trauma, go work on your marriages, go work on restoring the relationship with your children. You know what I'm saying? But all of that starts with you internally. But also, our message to the barbers is you can be phase one in your clients doing that.
I completely agree. And that makes me think about 3 months ago, maybe more. I would say between 3 to 5 months ago, it wasn't my client, but the owner of the barbershop I'm in, his client had committed suicide, and she would come through and get a haircut. And as a barber, I see people on a regular basis more than a mechanic, more than the doctor.
There's only one person that might see individuals the same as you: ministers.
Mm-hmm.
It's you and ministers.
Wow. Yeah, completely right. And thinking about the place in the community where the minister sits,
right?
That's a huge seat right there.
Right. His seat, both impactful seats. And I would also say to the ministers, like, that is something you cannot take lightly. Our mental health is the reason why our community is the way it is. Because if we don't deal with our trauma and our things that bother us, men and women, we continue to produce broken homes. And with broken homes, you can't have a community. You have to restore the home to restore the community. We see other communities do it. We've seen the Hispanic community do it. We've seen the Indian community do it. We've seen the Caucasian Americans do it. But all of those communities have the same thing in common. They all have their family structures intact. And it might not be perfect, but their homes are intact.
Right.
Ours, they set it up so that you're on SNAP, can't even live in the home, technically. And even if you get snaps, regardless of if that man is present in his child life, he still got to pay child support. That's going to create a little problem there over time. Why am I getting penalized when I'm here? How do you see Black culture right now?
Black culture, man. All right. Just to be honest, I feel like there is a hand in Black culture that influences and pushes it in the wrong way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like we'll always have a voice, and people will always come to us if they want to be, whether it be entertained or feel connected or be inspired or even feel rooted, because there's something about our culture. There's a connection with the environment and the world with our culture. Yeah, that's the whole thing I'm saying. Let's get in these Epstein files, man, because there's hands in our culture that I feel pushes certain narratives, and then we take the blame as if we are pushing demonic culture or we are pushing a certain narrative or how to be, when it's really another force with their hands in the culture, pushing it with money as the propeller.
Right. I agree 1,000%. I think it's interesting. I look at what's going on in the Hispanic community with America right now and how they're trying to get them out. And I have a theory on why they're trying to get them out. One, the people that are coming here, they can't indoctrinate. Like, we're a couple of generations in where they completely have been able to reshape our minds and reshape our situation. The Hispanic community comes in, they speak their own language. Most Americans refuse to learn it. We'll speak of the powers that be. We won't talk about neighbors. We'll talk about the powers that they can't get in and suppress them. They are the fastest growing population. You can't see a Hispanic family without a 3-month to 3-year-old because they can't infiltrate this community. They come with their own culture. They come with their own language. They come with their own mindset, their own work ethics. And a lot of times they create their own communities, which they pay each other.
Right.
Which is why they are a threat to the powers that be. We should be inspired by that. I'm actually going to the point where I'm starting to learn Swahili. I want to have private conversations in public like they do.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So culturally, even with my shirts and my branding, I've started to put Swahili in the design, because even with my people who wear it, they're different. It's empowering to know that I'm actually carrying something or I'm wearing something that is attached to my bloodline. You know what I mean? Like, it's bigger than that, bigger than the propaganda. I want to do everything that's attached to the culture of who we are from the purest form. So,
I'm with you.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
How has mental health affected you? Is there anything that you've struggled with? Anything that you had to kind of overcome, or anything that you had to like really work towards or work out of?
Man, yeah. I'm like most. For me, I think people may see me having a lot of outlets, and I may hear like, yo, you have talents, you have gifts. I think from an early age, I knew myself, and I was like, I can't just be shitting everywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? See, I get older, I'm starting to see it more. When we were younger, people fight, or they have these ways they don't know how to control themselves. As we get older, it bleeds out in different ways. Like when I was younger, I started my boxing, I started my music, and I have barbering. Those things truly keep me sane in a way, you know, to be able to express through those avenues. And God did everything for me with these things. And so I could be able to build with them. And I see that sometimes when it comes to men, they don't really know the shit is going to come out somewhere. So you can choose where to do it. I choose to put it into my craft, into my business, and make it into art. I mold that into art. I mold it into whatever it is. As we get older, it's the explosion could come from anywhere. You know what I mean? And you don't want to be at home with your people when it happens.
Right.
I don't want to be at work I don't want to be with anybody I love anywhere.
Right.
It's mine to deal with. I feel like, and I feel like that might be a thing where. That's a problem too, where I think it's the fight is ours to deal with, as it's
right.
Even as a man, just so. I would say I put it in my craft, and I just try to make it art.
Yeah. Oh, that's dope. You have to have an outlet. But when you said the explosion, every man that will listen to this know exactly what you mean. We know what that means. Like, I'm very respectful of people because I know how my mind process. I assume most men deal with that. And so
it could be a lot.
It could be, those spaces could be something powerful for you to have that expression. Than others, it could take you further down the rabbit hole and make it worse.
So how did you deal with that?
Still processing. Music as well, though. Therapy. God. Being creative allows you that vehicle to take thoughts and put them into words or put them into product. In my honest opinion, being able to affect others in a positive also is a way of release. This podcast itself is a product of that.
Right.
Because
even me speaking right now, man, that meant a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I mean, it all started with the word. So with words, so I know there's power in the word, but you rarely get to say the words.
Right. And more importantly, you rarely get to hear them from faces that look like us. There's not going to be weak men on this platform. Thank God we are still here to right wrong. You know what I mean? God. And we're free because, some of them wrongs that guys have gave them life in prison. So even though they got the message now, they still bound by the decision of their action. So we still have the freedom, and we took those hard lessons and said, okay, let me correct this. Let me go back and let me call this person up and say, yo, I was wrong, my bad. I still do that. I got a long list of people I need to call. Like, yo, man, my bad. It's that process of growth. After therapy, I started calling up exes. I didn't know who I was. As we get older, we understand that we have more time behind us than in front of us. And you start getting your affairs in order. You know what I mean? You start fixing the broken pieces. Have you started that process yet?
Oh, man. I've been trying.
You ain't at that space yet where you...
Yeah, like, I think what you said, what clicked to me is grace.
Yeah, man.
Just walking through, because, man, I think more, man, I don't even know where to start. One thing I'm gonna say is I've been checking my heart a lot. Because I could walk around not doing things, but it'll be on my heart sometimes. And I learned that there's no difference, in manifestation. Just because I didn't act on it doesn't mean that the way my heart was on it, it all influences the story.
Yeah.
Because not only does God see my heart, but people can feel it, and I'm moving accordingly.
Yeah, very true.
So
very true. I remember being in a relationship, and I found something out that was real rough for me. I was about to be out, right? And God came to me. He said, are you going to offer the grace that you asked of others?
Wow.
I didn't want to hear that first of all because I was like, bump that, I'm out. But it was said in such a way where it can't hold you accountable and I hold myself accountable. And so that allowed me to give that grace. We still broke up, but it lasted a little.
Right.
But it wasn't for that reason.
The lesson.
That lesson reigns supreme for me right now. So I move with that understanding that no one's perfect and everyone has stains on them. It does allow me to give grace to people. And in return, I've been given amazing grace because I definitely am not perfect, have messed up. You don't pass the lesson without the test. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times you got to take the test, fail it,
man,
to come back to it.
That's one of the ones. That has to go on a shirt.
Let's do it. Let's do it. But that's life. I tell people, I just turned 50. I feel like I got all this wisdom, all this knowledge, all of this space of just self-reflection. It's a beautiful place. And then so many of us didn't get that opportunity.
There were so many avenues that could have brought you down. There's always some new scheme to try and keep the black man down.
Right.
Just to be honest, like
Right.
they always try, and then it's compiled.
Right.
It's always something compiled. So,
Right.
And now I just feel like whatever there was in the past, now it's just all angles, you know?
Right.
They're attacking from the eyes, they're attacking from the ears, they're attacking from the mouth, they're attacking from the stomach, they're attacking from the root, they're attacking everything.
They're attacking your seeds, they're attacking your wives, they're essentially attacking your soul. All of these paths is meant to damage and hurt and influence your soul. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything is designed to take you off of your mantle. If I can distract you with pain, and I can also offer you a temporary band-aid instead of healing.
Pain disguised as pleasure.
Oh, wow.
You know?
That's crazy. We start to like the pain. We embrace it. We write about it. We make movies about it to inflict more pain to other people.
Man, I was just watching this. I know that you make music also, me making music. And just knowing what entertainment is and just like how we're saying this from all avenues, sometimes I just feel like, you know, even though I'm expressing my experience, I may not always have God. And I feel like there's God and then I want to just reach in and connect to maybe God, but it's not, you know, we all have our own individual.
Sure.
And I was watching 85 South show with Carlos Miller and they had attorney Ben Crumb. I didn't even know he's from Lumberton, North Carolina.
Is he?
Yeah, Ben Crumb.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, he's from Lumberton.
Okay.
And he was telling his story, but he was like, yo, he was just hyping on. He was like, yo, and he said this. He was like, man, I like what y'all do because we entertain, we pull them, we get people laughing, and then we educate them. And I was just like, man, that is what it is. That's it right there. It's like, you know, it's pull them in.
Gotta pull them in.
It's like there has to be something that's pulling them in.
Right.
And then you educate them.
Right.
It's like, and with everything that's competing and that right there, I feel like that's a sweet spot, man. That's a goal.
But I ain't gonna hold you, man. Appreciate your time and just being a part of this. I can't wait for this to come out because I know that people gonna be inspired and really listen to this and learn from it. Tell us about your Clipper brand because that is the sponsor for this podcast.
Man, and I appreciate that. So the same way, well, around 2020, out of necessity, you know, COVID hit everybody, and there was a shift. A lot of people started working from home. I was beginning as a professional barber around that time, and so you know, some people were mandatory and some weren't, and that's where my Clipper brand was born. Because I was cutting hair at home. It was just a slow season, and you know I was trying to get unemployment. And I would just hit me that be able to pay my rent. If you know, I love being an entrepreneur, but I'm not gonna. If I break my hand or if I'm not in the barbershop, I don't have any of that security behind me. And it hit me like I need something that's gonna keep going,
right? Even
when I'm not going. And that's when Ice Cutters was born.
It's funny. I was in the shop today, and one of your customers came in and was like, "Yo, I can sharpen the blade." How does that feel? Like literally using your product?
Man, it's surreal. And the more that I form it into something of my own, because it's already my own, and I've built it. But the more, you know, I know something but I'm like, nah, I'm still going to keep going. And these things slowly, it builds the brand, but it builds me as a man also. Like, me saying I'm going to do what I was going to do, me actually taking the time to learn these tools and take them apart and
Oh, nice.
Like all these things built me in a way that kind of took me out of my shell. That
Hmm.
I wasn't like all the way shelled up, but it definitely from the shell more. Like, yo, I have to be more outgoing. I can't just be open to things. Like, I have to go get it and certain things. So
Yeah, you remind me a lot of my brother Travis. Shout out Travis
yeah,
and everybody else. Because for a long time he was quiet, like he didn't say too much, but he was always in books. Probably one of the smartest people I know on the planet. But when he started talking,
he was talking.
he'd talk your phone dead, and like for real. We've done this a couple times, and it's just the wisdom is gained through experience most cases, but a lot of wisdom can be obtained through the training of your mind. I see the level of genius and I salute you. Is there anything that you want to share with the people, one, to inspire them, and two, to educate them?
Man, to inspire them or to educate them. Lord, I believe we're all here to do something different than the next person. And comparison might as well be a demonic spirit.
Oh my goodness.
Because we start comparing, and it's almost like we are looking away from the blessings that are on our own route. And so I think that being able to learn self, acknowledge real things about self, like that wall is going to be there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Being inspired, being collaborative, and grace. I'm also going to say get closer to God also.
Yeah.
I'm going to say get closer to God. I've been getting in that word. I love to learn, and
Nice.
so I'm 28 right now. Plan to bring this even when I'm 40 something.
Yeah.
I want to be able to just, whether it could be my future kid,
Mhm.
5 years old, and just because God speaks to me through people.
Yes.
And so I choose whether I want to open or close that door, but listening and being open and a student
Yeah.
is huge.
Yeah. That's big.
Man, it means a lot. It
Yeah.
definitely means a lot,
Yeah.
man.
Tell the people how they can reach you.
Man, if you want to find me on Instagram, it's Ice Cuts LLC. Excuse me, just Ice Cuts. ICECUTZ. ICECUTZ. The website, if you ever need some cordless hair clippers or trimmers, is Ice Cutters Pro. Ice Cutters, CUTTERSPRO. IceCuttersPro.com. And yeah, man, that's it. I'm in Raleigh. If you ever need a haircut, I'm at the Barbershop. Have I cut you yet? We're in North Raleigh, man. We're building. We got a great team. We got a great squad. Everybody can cut. And we're building a great community. I know I'm part of it. I'm excited to see where we go.
Thank you for being open to the idea of partnering with this. Thank you for being a part of the actual show. And because it takes a lot of courage to jump out here and be vulnerable.
I appreciate the poise. I appreciate the questions, man. Because I didn't even know I needed to speak about some of this stuff, So, just me being able to highlight a position that not only I, but some of my peoples, because they speak for me, I speak for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we might not all feel the same, but I know there's planes that we all level on. So
yeah,
I really appreciate this.
Absolutely. Thank you. For you guys that's listening, thank you all for your time. Thank you for rocking out with us and being supportive. Please support the people that support us. Please support the people that support you. Definitely reach out, stay connected to us, like, subscribe, share with a brother or sister or a child that needs to hear this and needs confirmation. If you've heard it, then share that with the people. Let them know that we outside and we gonna keep this going. And it's all about us, but it's also about you. Thank y'all for listening. Talk to you later. Peace.